Hello YouTube, the Eye of Stone here. This is a walkthrough of Undercover. It is the 8th mission of Thief the Dark Project, and it should be the 11th mission of Thief Gold, because at this point in Thief Gold you will have completed all 3 of the Thief Gold unique missions. I'm playing this level on the Thief Gold version, but I can't detect any visible differences from the Thief the Dark Project version of the level. This is so played on expert. This is a max loot run. I show you where all the loot is in this level. We do end with a high speed chase, but it would be a long walkthrough to get all the loot and the talismans and out without a high speed chase, and that is beyond my scope or interest. So there are several mission critical readings which I'm going to offer right now at the beginning. Here comes the first one. You can pause if you need more time. It's a 2-page letter that you have to read to gain access to the Hammer Temple. You're dressed as a novice, a Hammerite novice, so at first the hammers will not attack you. As you acquire loot, and if you get caught doing anything violent, it's inevitable that they get wise to you. This one describes the process. Again, you can pause if you need more time. This one describes the process of how to get at the Talisman of Air itself. Here is another thing you need to get at the Talisman of Air. You have to recite this prayer. So we're going to jump right into it right about now. This commentary was added after the fact. I guess you could say the important difference between the Thief Gold version of this level and the Thief the Dark Project version of this level is that here we're only after the Talisman of Air, as opposed to the Talisman of Air and the Talisman of Earth. So, first thing I'm going to do is get us past the gate.
Present thy credentials, novice.
So I'm showing him the letter.
Open the gate!
And they're letting us in. We're in and out in less than 15 minutes. This is not a level I peruse around.
Proves its own punishment, but steam burns are a harsh punishment.
It's a good opportunity because it's a level where it's easy to get max loot.
The action on DeWall studs?
Verily. Some have told me it was as
And you don't have to turn it into a total bloodbath to pull it off either. So I'm getting, again, I am taking this at a breakneck pace. That's just the strategy I employ. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm equipping myself with the master key to every room and lockable item in this place, just about. That's the holy symbol of the temple that I just stole, and I need that again to defeat the security system protecting the Talisman of Air. And it was totally unnecessary to bother the High Priest while I did that. Now, I am going to go ahead and KO a total of 4 Hammerites as a matter of course. I don't want dedicated roamers down here once trouble starts, and trouble will start. When trouble does start, the tendency I've noticed is that a lot of the hammers come down here, and at the same time...
Stand with me, brother!
That was close. I don't know why it didn't work the first time, but it worked the second. This is the only place in the level down here in the basement, in the sub-basement level, where you have the room and the shadow to hide. You have shadows on the first and second floors, but you don't have space. You can hide in a corner, they will come and get you. Here you have just barely enough space. You have to time the amount of loot you take with how far along in the very complicated process of getting the Talisman of Air's security systems totally offline. when you get the Talisman of Air, it inevitably sets off an alarm that can't be turned off, and then you have everyone in this place looking for you, especially if you've been playing on Expert and you haven't knocked out anyone. You have a grand old time ahead of you once you get the Talisman of Air. But I enjoy Thief, you know. If you were doing this, you really would be in and out in 15 minutes. You would not come here to spend hours. So I enjoy the fact that the game, at least for once, really forces you to play quick. Play quick where you just don't have the space. You can cower in the corner in this level, you just don't have the space. They will sniff out every nook and cranny. There are too many of them. So obviously, I'm a bit... Again, this commentary was added after the fact. I'm like really in manic mode here, just bumping up my loot count as much as I can. Because there's some areas where, again, to get max loot, you're going to have to go to some areas where there are stationary guards. And there's also the requirement of the, there's a hammer relic that you're supposed to steal. And there's a stationary guard there too, but we're well on our way at this point. I do not pull my usual stunt of locking all the hammers out front with the operable gate. This level is an adrenaline rush for me. Now he saw that. I don't know if you can tell because I'm moving so fast, but he was in the process of turning around. I got him before he finished figuring me out completely, but he saw that blackjack. You know, there's some nice black shadows here. If you have all the hammers looking for you, there isn't actually that much space in here. And there aren't many places you can cram into where they're not going to find you. You know, it might be black, but they're happy to look for you in the black. You can buy yourself some time, but there aren't any really safe zones in this level. There are, but those safe zones do not connect to any route of escape. You can prevent yourself from getting pummeled if you want to, but that doesn't get you out of here, and it doesn't get your objectives completed.
Some do say the Baron means to raise the tariffs again, even on greens and meat.
The wretched man serves only the merchants and his own greed.
His grandfather cared less for his pocketed gold and more for his soul's health, but no longer.
Treachery. Measured application of force. This is a hazardous graveyard here. It's just a long dead end.
Spy! An intruder!
It's a cheap trick. You can build up a lot of speed, especially in Thief Gold, by jumping. It is a big enough of a boost in Thief the Dark Project, but I notice in Thief Gold, at least on my system, if you do hopping run, your speed seems to increase exponentially. Whereas I always thought that in Thief, the Dark Project, it's just a one-up flat boost. It's like the longer you can keep the jumping up in this version, the faster you can go.
Crumble before the builder's might.
Art thou feared to face me man to man?
So, that hammer was an objective that we just stole. You have to time where they're going and where they're likely to go with where you need to go to get where you're trying to get get where you need to get to. Now again, because I headached everybody down here, the place is not swarming with Hammerites looking for me. But, you know, they're not terribly far off. I'm disabling the security system, by the way. You have to have all 5 of those switches pulled in the span of 5 minutes, I believe the letter says, or you get to do the whole sequence all over again. And we just deactivated. So that's the first thing we needed to do. We are equipped with the Prayer of the Wall Builder. We have the Holy Relic of the Temple. So this Hammerite made the mistake of not having a buddy with him. Or 3. Since he didn't have 50 reinforcements nearby. Now, for some reason, I ended up having to recite the Prayer of the Wall Builder twice before it worked. I don't know why. But you're going to see the screen go black twice. So I'm reading it once. And I look down. And those things will damage you. So now I'm panicking that I'm gonna have to start all over for some whatever reason. But I decided to give it one more try, and I apologize for the loud noise that we're gonna have to deal with, but I wanted max loot. I wanted this to be a max loot run. So we're about to have a high-speed chase, and I take damage once, but considering the enormity of the task you face during return to the cathedral, it is useful to milk this level for all that it's worth. Now what you're seeing here is I'm shedding unnecessary stuff, even though the level is basically over and there's really no reason for me to be taking this step. I don't like to be encumbered. There's a lot of things you could pick up in a level, and you don't necessarily need most of it, and it can slow you down getting to your useful objects, so that was kind of just a reflex response there, a learned habit over the years. So I have 2 pieces of loot that I'm trying to get at. One in the front and one on the main altar. Think fast, move faster. Uh-oh. You gotta move. But mainly you need to not panic. Oh, they broke their door. Alright, so that's the first of 2 pieces. Now there's one more thing I have to grab on my way out. Okay, so I took some damage. Nothing I can't cure. Would have been more satisfying to do this without taking damage. And done and done. So here are the objectives, and we're going to have stats coming up in just a second, and I will see everybody soon for Return to the Cathedral. Later.